Hey guys, doing a replay coaching here. This is for a 2.3k MMR player. Comments are, started playing Dota again after a long break. You want to start practicing roaming as Tiny. Feel like for a lot of the replay coaching I do mainly focus on winning the lane, true. I would like help with recognizing which lanes are preferable to gank and how to approach. Still practicing Tiny. Definitely see me mess up the combo and mainly many failed tosses. Also, I'd like some help with itemization, learning when trading auto attacks and spells in lane is preferable or too dangerous. Okay, so we'll try to focus on that in terms of laning, but then also transition this to understanding where and how to gank. So first obvious thing, okay, perfect, you got boots first. You going top is, let's see how this works out. Laning is weird. Support, probably core, off lane. Mid 4, 5, 1, I guess. So that should mean that the offlane should be 3, 4 or something. So you'd be ganking like a Earthshaker plus Mirana. You can gank Mirana early because she's probably no arrow. Once she hits 2, she's not really killable. Ganking Visage early would be really doable. Visage against Shadow Fiend. That looks like a great person to toss somebody back. Toss Visage back to Shadow Fiend and give Shadow Fiend a really easy triple race, basically. And your lane is going to be an Undying plus a Skeleton King, which is pretty hard to kill because tossing Undying back is not that big of a deal because he's usually just like, whatever, I'll fight. So that's what I basically analyzed just by looking at what heroes they are. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know what your 3 position is, probably Tree, which is pretty strong. So I guess you guys have the possibility of killing Undying. You have the possibility of killing Wraith King because your Tree has an Orb of Venom. If he doesn't have Orb of Venom, I don't really see you guys getting a kill. That's my initial analysis of like where you should gank potentially. You being here is kind of weird this early. Normally being somewhere for a first blood is great. Potential. This lane is potentially killable, but because Lifestealer doesn't have Orb of Venom, I don't really see it happening. Because you guys are not going to have enough disable to get a kill. Even if he gets like open wounds. Like Lifestealer doesn't do that much damage early. And Disruptor does a decent amount. And you do an okay amount of damage, but you attack pretty slow. So I'd be a little surprised if you guys were able to get a kill here. Personally. Maybe Mirana though. Let's see how you approach this. Ideally, especially now that you've seen 2 heroes here, I think the best thing you could do right now is probably walk up here. Unfortunately, that would get spotted by Visage. But I think that would be a decent thing to do. That way you could potentially get behind and then toss back. I mean, hypothetically, you could also sneak out over here and get as close. Basically, you want to get as close as possible. So maybe hide behind the tree here if you could perfectly, but it's probably a little bit too late for this. You're waiting way too long to do this. I'm confused. Should toss him back to Disruptor. Perfect. And everybody hits. Alright, it works out pretty well. Okay, and now he has Kinetic Field level 1. Alright, so you guys got your kill. At this point, you probably should have teleported bottom instantly because now you're delaying your effectiveness in the bot lane until you get there. Because you trying to do a toss back at the start in the mid lane is just not really doable. Putting a ward down, now you're running bottom. Like, realistically, you just would have placed this ward earlier, and then you just would have TP'd bottom instantly after the start. So, like, basically what you're trying to do, roaming, is not really viable anymore. You don't really just ditch your lane completely and leave. Because that means that you aren't helping your off lane, and now your Tree and Protector is going to get less golden farm than normal. And Wraith King's going to have, like, a bigger advantage than normal, and he's going to have way more denies. So, like, spending the whole game on the map like this with boots is not really something you want to do. So when I read the word roaming, I guess, I kind of interpret it as, like, Tiny does leave his lane and gank sometimes, but you almost always need to at least start in your lane. So what you should be doing, basically, is getting a kill at first blood like you did. That's great. That's perfect. But then you need to get back to your lane a little bit. Because even if you're not really going to fight people to the death all the time because you just have boots start, which is normal, then you still need to make sure that that you're helping in your lane a little bit. So ideally, after you come bottom, what you'll do is do like a toss back, toss Undying into Tree, and as you're tossing, he'll cast Nature's Grasp in a line to where the guy's likely to run, and then Tree starts hitting him. That would be the ideal. And then you'll move over and start hitting him as well, ideally. And ideally, Tree would be standing like back here when you do it. That way, if he wants to fight you, he's going to have to fight to your creeps. And then the Wraith King will have to run past. Like if you're right here and you toss Undyne over here, it's not really that good because Wraith King's just going to start slapping you and the Undyne's just going to run away. So it has to be like a little bit separated. But what you're going to end up doing is running top. You're also buying 2 mangoes right away. This is a really inefficient way to spend your mana, or your money on mana. Clarities is far better. Even though, like, if you did like 1 mango and 1 clarity, I'd feel a lot better about it, basically. So you end up coming back top. You're going to find Mirana again, which is cool. Oh, that hurts so bad to watch. You had it. Like, you coming back top actually ended up being effective because Mirana's still level 1. But you going for an attack first was, unfortunately, very catastrophic. So you have to turn, unfortunately. Yes, you were very sad too. Now this guy's dead also. And now you're just playing support top. Which basically means Tree is more or less... I mean, he's still getting experience, it looks like, but he probably shouldn't be. He should be getting completely beat up, actually. These two guys can easily dumpster him together. So you get a little bit of experience by pulling. You deny 1 melee creep only. Oh, this is a good opportunity if you can throw him to the tower. Break his clarity. This is fine. This moving, like chasing him around is kind of weird. You're kind of helping stuff, but ideally maybe toss him to the neutral camp. Would have been kind of nice. Like, all you're really doing is stabilizing the lane for the Mirana, or for the lifesteal a little bit, which is kind of weird. Basically, Disruptor can do this as well, you know? And you standing here is now a waste of time. Like, if you're going to do this roaming thing, you need to be a little bit more... what's the word? You need to not show yourself so much, kind of. Because the whole purpose is to, like, show up places and toss somebody back. And you still haven't ganked mid, for example. You don't have... Oh, you do have a smoke now. Okay. Maybe gank mid with a smoke? Did he block this? He did not, actually. I think he fucked that up. So now you're doing a pull. Like, you're kind of just tri-laning, which can be fine, but... I feel like it's just been a little unnecessary. Wait. Oh. I didn't think about that, actually. That just gives you vision. This makes this very easy to D-ward, huh? This one like this, too? Never block here, I guess. So, anyways, now you're stacking the camp, but late. You've kind of just wasted so much time already. You should have ganked mid by now. Like, as soon as, especially like once Shadow Fiend hits 3 or something, then it's really possible. Because then the damage goes up a lot. But the fact that you are ganking mid is good. It's just going to be really hard to approach this. Ideally, you would actually approach from down here instead, because then there's ways that you can cut in. Like, you can basically cut through trees to get behind him, but now you have to cross, like, your smoke is going to break, like, right here. So your ability to get behind him and toss him back is really hard. But if you gank from the right side, you can run in like any of these paths and you're already cut behind him. But now you have to run parallel to him. And it's going to make this gank really unlikely. So ideally what you do actually is use that smoke and then just go all the way around. If I was Tree, I'd be really mad at you, by the way. But the reality is that these guys aren't good enough at lane control to know that they should just be dumpstering the tree repeatedly. So he just ends up getting some experience. His last hits are really inadequate compared to the Wraith Kings. So it isn't like all bad for him, but... So basically, if this creep wave is closer to your wave, if it's like up here instead, then your gank is possible, right? Because to last hit, Viz is just going to have to run up to here to attack, and then it's easier because you're a little bit more behind him, and it's going to be easier to get behind him and do a toss back. But realistically, all he has to do is turn and cast Grave Chill on you, and it's probably going to prevent you from getting close enough to do the toss back. So I just don't really see... Your gank is like not possible, and that's why you're sitting here the whole time, because you realize that like you approaching is really, really difficult. Now you're going to walk in, and it's not going to work because he sees you coming, and you try, but it's not going to work, and now you die, and you're going to feed, and you ended up just giving gold to him. But this is just because the way that you approached it was wrong. I'm glad that you're trying to do these things, frankly, because most players don't learn these skills, but these are the things that you need to fix. It's all about like increasing your chance, and approaching from this direction is almost never the thing. Almost always you want to approach from the right side, because you can basically just sit right here, eat this tree, and run it right in, do the Ava, throw him back. That's a kill. So you've had some really good moments here, but you've also had some fails. And just removing, like the Disruptor dying here is a great example, and then this one as well. The two big mistakes that you've made so far. SF is owning now. Alright, let's see what you do with your respawn. You sit in the base for approximately 3 minutes. And then you TP to the bot lane. Okay. But like I think the thing that I dislike the most about your gameplay so far is that there's just been a lot of wasted time. Like, and this is part of the reason you get boots is because you want to up the tempo of everything that you're doing. You want to go get things done so that you can do this like tossback stuff constantly. You need to like do a tossback and then reset and try it again, you know? But you filled a lot of time with like, oh, you did a little pull here, and then you tried to stack and that didn't work. And then you stood around a little bit, and then you smoked, and then you ran mid to put a ward down, and then you ran back top again to try it again. It's like all these things were like kind of inefficient, moderately inefficient, or really inefficient. So what you need is to reduce the downtime between those. Therefore, you get less underleveled, for example. So this is what happens sometimes when people are weak at roaming and they try it, is that they end up getting underleveled like you are. So this means that now you can still do tossbacks, but everyone's levels compared to yours are a little bit higher, which means that you getting those kills is less likely because your skills don't do as much damage. And also because they just have more HP and more skills to defend themselves. So you coming back bottom to gank is great, but imagine if you had done this faster. Like say, let's say you try to toss back on the Mirana earlier rather than when you did it. Like you didn't run mid, put a ward down, then come back and do it. Let's say you got first blood or whatever, and then you stuck around a little bit to hide, and then you came out and ganked him like 20 seconds earlier. And then after that succeeded, you ate your mango or your clarity potion, and then you TP'd bottom, and then you came bottom when Tree was level 2 with 1 point in Nature's Grasp and 1 point in Leech Seed, and then together you guys did a toss back on the Undying when he was still like level 1. Like imagine how crazy effective that would be. Super, super effective, right? It's like all of a sudden you just destroy 2 lanes. You kill Mirana twice, and then you come bottom and you kill the Undying. And now you're level 2, and then you do a side pull, and then you use a smoke, and then you go gank mid. At that point, Visage is level 3 or 4. Shadow Fiend's probably like level 3 or 4. And then you toss back the Visage. You see like how much faster that would have been? So like just, it's very important that you're quicker about everything. And I know that you need to be able to identify when these ganks are possible. And that's literally what's going to completely change your roam game and make it more effective. Because doing that like double kill top is totally fine if you instantly go bottom and then help out this lane and stabilize it all of a sudden. But you didn't do that. This is the first time you've been bottom pretty much all game. So for 5 minutes, this guy's been in a 1v whatever situation. And it's been fine for him, but realistically, it has not been fine for him. Because the only reason it's been okay is because your opponents didn't do a very good job. And now you're going to get a kill anyways, which is cool. This did start with Undying being really low HP and also not eating tangos. You maybe should have done the Avatos together because your avalanche damage would have increased, but getting a kill here has now been really good. So, like, I think it's safe to summarize that your laning stage has been pretty okay. For your MMR, I think it's been good, but it could be a lot cleaner. You should stay and probably do a side pull here, I think. Could also do clarity usage. Definitely a side pull, though. Okay, ooh, cancel it a little bit, but you will make it, I think. Just wish you'd use a clarity potion, then you would have been able to do a combo here. Do a toss back into him. It's a little bit late. Let's find the exact moment here. Right click, use mango here. Right about here. You should toss back into him probably, because he's going to be running under tower and realistically probably won't die. But you kept chasing this guy, you're not going to kill him probably until Avalanche comes off cooldown, and now you just took way too much damage. Most tinies, from what I've seen, end up going for... That was weird. End up going for Trinkles first, I think. Bottle's not bad either, but... I'm confused. Tree does not have any regen, unfortunately. Give him a little bottle, that's very nice of you. Tree missing many last hits. So you're staggering the stuns a little bit, and it's working fine, I guess, because he's still dying. But in a normal circumstance, if you're trying to kill somebody like that, you need to do them together, because while they're in the air, they take triple damage. So this 150 damage would be tripled to 450. This 160 damage is increased by 30% as well. So that's 16 times 3, which is 48. So this does 200 damage. So basically, if you have a toss somebody, you're doing about 650 magic damage, which is going to be reduced to like 450. Still no Tranquil Boots yet, which helps offset the fact that you have no armor. Now ganking it is basically impossible. Visage is level 8. He should have 1 point in Graveskeeper's Cloak at least by now. This is a great time to go in. Great toss. Really like this. Ooh, that missed. SF has failed. Would have been really sick if he had his ulti, actually. That would have been a fun way to combo it. Now you're swinging top, which is great. Yeah, you should have gone in there. He still dies, yeah. The funny part is that he has perfect vision of you this whole time, but you don't. Like, you're doing a decent job, but you're just getting behind in levels, missing some of these kills. Like, the Visage not dying was really catastrophic. That's pretty close. Smart TP, actually. Wait, where have you been? They have a lot of wards to spot you guys, too. That's really close. I maybe would have tossed him there since you're about to get a new rune and you had full bottle charges anyways. This is the other place where not having tranquils is really catastrophic because now you're using all these bottle charges to give you HP, and HP is not very hard to get. So your item build's way wrong. Like, you just got to get tranquils right away. Just because it makes you immune to harass more or less. At least in terms of like the roaming play style. Now you playing in the circle here when he sees you is just a waste of your time as well. Like, you don't need to stand here and look at him. What you should be doing is moving into position somewhere or going hidden and then wrapping around. And that way you're in position to toss him back, for example. They really spotted you guys a lot with their wards. Their wards were very good for spotting the rotations. Oh no. I don't know if I've ever seen this 440 build, but it's probably not terrible for the amount of HP he's going to be able to get. Let's go ahead and Meteor Hammer or something. Oh, that looks like it killed me. Nicely done. Yes, saved your life. You got raindrops as well. This is like a lot of mana stuff. You don't get grow either. Might feel weird because it's your ultimate or whatever, but you just max out avalanche and toss. Typically, because you're just trying to increase your burst damage as much as possible. There's an easy kill. That was pretty stupid of him. He did that poorly. In this moment, when you're going to be able to get in melee range of him, because you have an invis, again, you don't want to stagger the Avatos. You should just... His HP is like too high, basically. So avalanching here to buy yourself a moment was not needed, in my opinion. I guess it let you get closer because he kind of jumped early, but if you just do melee or Avatos in melee range, that would go a lot cleaner. I guess he died, though, so maybe it's not a big deal. I don't know if he knew that if his ulti was down or not, but... Still really wish that you had Tranquils or something. You're probably saving up for Blink at this point. You just bought a couple too many items, I think. It's pretty good AoE damage. You should be watching what's happening a little bit more. I think you're running a little bit too much. Because now your spells are off cooldown again, you could help. Same thing here, kind of. This is really hard. Oh, he messed up. Okay, he leapt. No big deal. Now you're buying Windlace and Tranquils. Drum. Okay. Drum is fine, but the problem is that it doesn't really accomplish what you want it. I mean, it's like there's just better ways to do what you're trying to do, in my opinion. Like, it gives you a little bit of stats, it gives you movement speed. Yes, it gives you burst movement speed, but like, if you just buy Tranquils, you just have this already, you know? Tranquils is a 25 movement speed item, basically, plus solves the regen, and then you can buy Tranquils after that. So it's like 45 movement speed. That movement speed should be enough for you to get close enough to do these combos. Spending all of your money on a drum with like in pro games, it's generally good because pros are really good at like grouping together and using the drum charges together. But in an average pub game, it's not really worth it for you to spend all this money with this as your first item when its base is only 20 movement speed, you know? And it gives you mana regen, but you already have that basically solved between bottle charges and raindrops and mangoes. It's like you're overkilling the money that you're spending on mana regen and HP regen, kind of. Like, if you just did really quick tranquil boosts, you're faster and you solve all of your HP regen problems. Then you just need to solve your mana regen problems. Like, you spent 625 gold on bottle. It's been kind of useful, but you could have done the same thing with like tranquil boots and clarity potions, and then you'd just be faster because you'd have tranquil boots. But now you don't. Like, this bottle was twice as expensive as what the tranquil upgrade would be. That's not exactly true. It's 425. You could have tranquil boots and 200 gold, basically, which is better because you're faster rather than bottle. Magic wand is fine. I just wish you wouldn't have completed the whole thing. And now going drum is fine, but it's not as good as it could have been, in my opinion. Like, ideally, you'd have tranquil boots, maybe a magic wand, maybe a windlace, some clarities, and then you'd be going for blink next, ideally. Because your whole goal is to be able to one-shot people and to blink toss people back out of position. That's Tiny's whole goal. Going drum is just going to elongate this. You basically just overspent. Like, your net worth is pretty high. You have 3,000 net worth, and you're not even close to getting blink dagger. Do you see how that's kind of problematic? If you have tranquil boots and wand, you'd be like at 1,000 gold right now. Or something like that. Maybe more. Halfway to getting your blink dagger. And then you can actually initiate or Ava toss back people to your allies to start fights in a really good way, you know? But instead it's like your impact is not going to be good for a while. You are buying more regen, which is good. The second raindrop purchase is probably not needed. I don't like this. I think it's overkill. And now you're basically just laning rather than ganking, which is generally okay, but ideally you'd be farming for a blink dagger, not for a drum completion. These should be in your inventory, by the way. Crown should definitely be in for the stats. This is really good. That was really nice. It works out because he ended up letting you get too close. But either way, nicely done. Now your drum is coming. And ideally, if you're buying drum, definitely go movement speed a little bit quicker, since your hero is so much about getting close to people. Again, at level 9, this should be where you get grow. Because your Avatos would ideally be finished already. And also, ideally, you are looking for kills at this point. At this point in the game, normally you want to play bottom. Earthshaker was pretty easy kill. Oh. Nicely done. I would use Clarity and not Mango there, but that's fine. You don't really need to show on this wave here. He's going to be able to push it without you, so you sitting here to hit the creep wave is a waste of time. Ideally, you're still looking for kills over here, sitting near mid, for example. But you basically walked out to attack your creep 3 times and showed the enemy team where you were. Now you're buying Tranquil Boots and a Soul Ring? This is way too much mana regen. Tranquil Boots, great, but Soul Ring? You have a bottle, a drum, a wand, an infused raindrop, and you've got clarity potions. You need like 2 of these things, not 4. And plus there's neutral items, which at some point are going to be good enough to give you what you need. Oh, did he not have his hammer ready? Oh, he didn't. Actually, still looks like a pretty good fight, though. Oh, no, he's going to live, huh? JK. Okay, he ends up dying. You're going to die, too? Wow, and you didn't kill him. Wow, he must have healed himself so many times. Looks like he used an earn charge, among other things. Rough one. Let's go back and watch that again to see if you made any major mistakes. Once again, you did a delayed avalanche into toss. Which seemed like it would be okay because it went to this guy. And then you had follow-up from your allies. You right-clicked him a bunch. Then you got interrupted. The avalanche did decent damage. I didn't see where that toss went. Well, then he healed himself, basically. And the fight's over. I mean, I kind of feel like you should have better prioritized just tossing him in the air, personally. Because then he would have taken more avalanche damage. You basically, like, genuinely, rather than doing 900 damage with avalanche, potentially, by do Avatos and straight up and down, you ended up doing 600-ish damage. It's more like 700. So you gave up, like, a lot of points of damage. Like 600 points of damage. By not doing Avatos. And it just made the whole thing a lot harder because the guy was survivable. So in ganks like that, you need to alternate your gank based on how effective you think you're going to be able to kill them. I don't completely blame you there because he did almost die, but it took a lot, right? It took like Disruptor ulti and everything, and you guys didn't kill the tomb, so it just put you guys in a bad spot. But definitely costly. And here's another thing too, your net worth is now 4,003 and you still haven't even started your Blink Dagger yet. And if you have Blink Dagger there, then what happens is you do a Blink Avatos on Undying. And this guy does his first skill to follow it up and maybe uses his ulti as well. But you didn't get that opportunity because you're buying all these tiny little items. Here's another example where you're going to have to do a slow follow-up. Ideally, you'd use Drum here. It's too late now. Probably. Okay, maybe you got him. Alright, you got him. Nicely done. You deserve to live. You should be bottling right now, probably. Because they're still chasing you a little. God, you have so much overkill in items. You don't even have slots for all these things. Well, might as well walk in and go for the combo. Again, if you have Blink there, you just go in and do it. Ideally, toss one of these creeps together. That way it pushes faster. Like, the problem right here is that nothing's happening and you guys have 4 heroes here, which means that the only way that you guys get something done is if they walk up and come and get a last hit, which would be completely insane of them if they do this, because then you guys are going to jump out and kill them, right? So what you need to do instead is push the creep wave under tower, and you need to get into position to dive. So you should be walking over here right now while you push the creep wave. So, but this guy's invis, which usually means that he doesn't want to show. Disruptor doesn't have the best push. You should just walk out and do a toss from here to here. If you do Avatos, you put both of your spells on cooldown, which is kind of bad. But it would push the wave faster. But if you just do a toss, you spend less mana, only put one of your 2 abilities on cooldown, so if there's a fight the next 12 seconds, it's not that big of a deal. But rather than just walking into this wave like you did and attacking it like once and running away, like letting them know you're there, wasting time kind of, rather than going to setup, you could just toss the creeps together and this would die faster, and then it'd be easier for them to go push. Creep wave is still sitting here, by the way, because nobody pushed it. So you messed up a fundamental of what you should be doing, basically. Alright, let's go back and see what you've been doing when all this crazy stuff happened. So you were sitting behind the creep wave, then you got in trouble from the Visage. The double stomp, throw some damage into you. Now you're still waiting because your combo's almost up. Tried to have a toss, but you hit a range creep. Pretty predictable with the skeleton there, though. Now he's going to have to fight to the death, but he is going to die. So I think it's safe to say you didn't play the fight well. Some of this was the fact that you didn't set up correctly. If you would have pushed the creep wave pushes, then it doesn't feel like you need to hang out over here anymore, for example. If you have Blink Dagger, everything is easier as well. But like, it's just such a big tempo difference. Like, early game, it's easier to do Avatos because everyone's pretty small or slow. They don't have a lot of items, so you can still burst them. But you want to get to that period where you can continue doing Avatos on the same guy to guarantee their deaths. But you spent so much gold on items that don't do that, so it's still difficult for you to be able to do Avatosses correctly. And that's part of the reason your impact wasn't very good, because you're really just a 14-second cooldown AoE stun. Like, these two skills don't actually do much for you at all. So what you accomplished was very little in that fight. Not that you guys necessarily initiated correctly, but... See this guy? Soul Ring, Blink Dagger. His impact is going to be massive because he's going to be able to do really easy Echo Slams. I would have probably comboed that guy. Does he have Tranquils? He doesn't. He's got Essence Rings, so he could have healed from it, I suppose, but... You don't really need to push this wave because Tree is going to likely handle it for you. Now you're coming up Blink Dagger, but it's so late in the game. Like, this damage doesn't scale any faster, any longer, you know, unless you get Spell Amp or Veil or something. So, like, the whole goal is that you make Avatos as effective as possible. That way you can, like, dumpster people a lot before they get HP items and magic resistance items. But now they've got all those, so nobody's going to die in one shot. Whereas if you'd gotten this faster, maybe you catch Undying once in a while. Or maybe you kill Mirana with help of one guy. Or maybe you kill Earthshaker. But everybody's got so much HP now that it's just not really feasible for you anymore. So in hindsight, Tranquil Soul Ring maybe a Magic Stick, go Blink Dagger. Or Tranquil's Windlace Wand, Clarity Potions, go Soul Ring after. This would be amazing, this gank right now, if you had a Blink Dagger. Tossing your Lifestealer is not great. One drum. Okay, now you die because there's a billion zombies. And here's the Blink Dagger. And then I'll die. Like, your combo basically did nothing. You did 600 AoE damage. And you stopped the Lifestealer from attacking for a second too. This looked kind of good though. You die again. Now they're pretty far ahead of you guys. Part of this is that your Lifestealer's died a little bit too much, but like, Lifestealer has to be a little bit careful about when he goes into fights, more or less. And this guy's got a lot of HP and a lot of items now, so it's kind of hard for Lifestealer to fight him. He needs an armlet or something. The Deathslow's fine. Echo Saber's not very good though. Echo Saber's just straight up bad on that hero actually. This looks very good now. Whew. Okay. Minus armor. Minus armor. He dies pretty quick at that point. Reason Echo Saber's bad, if anyone's wondering, it's because Lifestealer already has tons of attack speed from Feast, so you don't usually need to spend a lot on attack speed items, so Echo Saber's kind of bad. It also applies a slow, which is a little bit wasted because when you open wound somebody, they're really slowed anyways, so having more slow here isn't very good. Something like a Basher is a better version of slow for a Lifestealer to have, which he's buying next. But he could basically buy Armlet for the same price, and it would do way more. It's actually cheaper to buy Armlet by 25 gold, so Armlet would be better here. More raw HP, pretty much equivalent attack speed, far more damage, more armor, lots of good things. All right, let's see what you're doing now. Come into the bot lane to begin your slow farm of Blink Dagger. Really happy for you. So basically, like for your MMR, your roaming is probably fine, but if you just solved your itemization by getting a Blink Dagger faster, your whole game would change. like completely change. Well, you wasted so much time when he infested you. You're really fast right now, so you should have been able to potentially catch somebody. I would probably prefer you ward like behind the tower maybe, because you guys are pushing out bottom anyway, so diving the tower would be an obvious thing to do. So now you guys spread out and push out and farm various lanes. Now you're slowly going to try to finish your Blink Dagger, but you just like missed your timing completely, basically. Not that your hero can't still be useful, but you have to transition to a Blink eventually, or you're just hurting yourself too much. I would consider continuing to push here, if I were you. I think I covered enough of this replay. I think, because honestly, just watching this game for another 5 minutes until you get Blink Dagger is going to be slow. And then once you get it, you're just playing a tiny that's weaker than you're supposed to be. So let's move on to the second replay. Slardar game. Focus on when a trade is favorable or when it's too dangerous. You forgot to buy bracers because you're a 2k scrub. Okay. So would you buy instead Wraith Bands? Wraith Bands are good on Slardar. Starting items look good. Mango's a little overkill, but it's fine. I would like to see you guys wrapping around looking for a fight instead of this stand here thing. I mean, you guys are not bad at fighting, but you kind of really played like a coward here. Like, you need to skill something, you know? Either skill bash or stun. If you guys all fight together, it's a little bit more viable there. It's not easy because A is not exactly the best level 1 fighter, but... And because Slardar needs a lot of time, like these big fights without having Southern Crush is kind of bad. And if you get crushed, then you're having a bad time in the laning stage anyways, you know, but... So small mistake you made here. You pulled the creep wave, which was fine, because then the range creep's going to get denied, but then you have to go get the last hit. And because your A is dead and respawning, it's a little bit hard. So when you move back down, normally what you do is you walk up and you get the last hit here. But you right-click the Sven, which pulled all the melee creeps on you as well. So if you, like, fight and get the range creep, it's not that bad, but you ended up just taking a lot, and you're also against a tri-lane, which is a little bit bizarre. I think you're just dead. You should have eaten a tango a lot earlier. Like, as soon as there were 3 heroes, you should have eaten a tango on your escape. Them being a tri-lane is pretty weird, though. Should have slapped him there once. Stunning for creep is fine, but obviously a little bit better against heroes if needed. Should have slapped Sven here. You've got 3 procs. Don't worry, like, you're letting CM hit you too much. Just go hit her. Yeah, or just run at her, you know? CM should die here. Okay, perfect. You should be eating a tango already because your HP is missing. If you're missing HP, you should be regenning, basically. Should fight the Omni. He's only level 1. Easy kill. Okay, he's a little too fast. Does he got boots or something? No, he's just a quick boy. Alright, you got boots coming, which is fine. You're not wrong, that bracer is pretty nice. Alright, you already messed up really bad. As soon as these guys are running, you just start slapping them. You got 3 hitter. Give him a slap. CM is the person you hit. If you hit CM right here, like, this is the only way you can protect, right? Like, look how obvious this is. 3 heroes are running A. They know he's the easier guy to kill. All you have to do is fight back and kill one of these guys, or try to kill one of these guys. So what you do right here is you hit CM, and then you hit her a second time, and then you use your stun, and then you hit her like 2 more times, and she gets bashed again. And now she's at like 40% HP. So minimum what it would give you is an opportunity to do some damage back. So as A is about to die, because maybe he doesn't die actually if CM is really busted up. But like if A turns and uses Cold Feet and Chilling Touch on Crystal Maiden right now, she ends up taking a lot of damage. This guy's got freaking Degenor, for example, actually. Like he actually could still live. But because you just gave up and you let CM just run him down, like watch what's gonna happen. He's just easily gonna die now. Alright, he's gonna live. But like you did almost nothing in response. You did a 3-man stun. But if you just start fighting the CM, that's always what you have to do as the core. The core and the support. Whichever guy gets gone on, the other guy has to come help. It's really, really important. Probably should have seen the mango, I think, but... This is good. Now you back up and regen. Probably, yep, that works. Eat mango, bring Ironwood Branch in. You're definitely right that braces would have been really helpful here. You're playing way too defensive is the other thing. You're always sitting so far back. This is great. Good target change. Now running away is great here. So realistically, but you're running too far away once again. You could have probably stuck about here. It means that your camera positioning is kind of garbage. I wish you were like this instead. I want to see like where their movement. I don't want to see them like barely on the screen. So it's great. You should have probably slapped the Sven here. So you keep doing the same thing. You're giving up opportunities to slap them, and Slardar needs to attack a lot. You got 3 hits. Okay, walk up and hit Sven once. Free 160 damage. Now the creep wave's pushing, so you guys can't fight. You call get back, which is correct. Great opportunity to go on him. Now you get last hits. This is solid so far. You're last hitting very well. You didn't cancel your animation very good after you attacked him. See how you like stopped and did a full backswing? You needed to hit him and start moving. It's super important on like this. You're doing a lot better here. I probably would have hit him one more time before going for the stun. You should have sprinted by now. You're doing it again. Like you're not doing a very good job attack moving after you attack. Yeah, definitely same thing here. You should have helped a little bit more. Got sprint ready. You need to bring more regen at this point so you can get back in the lane faster. Yeah, you should have brought yourself at least a Tango or a Salve or something. Luckily they're pushing the lane though. You should tread switch when you're getting salved, because otherwise you heal a little bit less. Your camera's in a bad position again. You could be standing where you are with your camera like this the whole time to see whether or not it's safe to come forward. That was good. You got a response kill, so it makes it less bad. Stun here. Stun, 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 stun. Okay, you could just run, I guess. But they're under tower, so stunning them is amazing. Now you're bringing regen, which is fine, but you should just heal on the... Perfect, and then TP back bottom. This is fine. I'm okay with you buying this much regen. It's not terrible. It's probably, maybe like one a little bit overkill, but it's fine. I don't know how to elastic catapults either. This is good. It's too fast for you though. This is now really hard. Oh no. 100 gold wasted. They're actually still getting pretty good levels compared to you guys. And your last hits are still pretty low. His are low too, I guess, but... There's just like a couple moments where in fights you haven't pushed your limits quite enough, and I think like against this Omni tri-lane you definitely could have gotten a little bit more out of it. And it would have made a big difference here. Sven's going to be jungling. He's never going to be ganking at this point in the game. So calling missing is a little bit unnecessary. Holding the creep wave is really good here. Going to look for him is okay, but not really needed. I'd rather you just dive this hero right under tower. Like, you're spending so much time looking for him, but you could just continue to get farm. Yes, he's jungling too, but... This is fine. Eat Tango, resume laning. They used a lot for this. This guy should be hitting CM while CM hits you, but he's sitting behind you stupidly. In this case, he's getting bounty rune, which is fine, but... Nicely done by them. The other issue is that Mars is level 8, so Mars has done a very good job in his solo lane so far. Probably because your Venge spent some time bottom and didn't do a good job solo zoning him. So he's just gotten a lot more than he's supposed to. That looks like a possible dead hero. Should go back to last hitting because you killing the Sven is not possible. You're wasting time in last hits. That was at least 1 to 2 last hits that you could have gotten. Possibly 3. But you overchased for no reason. Like, you're not going to be able to catch up to him. Does he have boots now too? He's got boots now, so you're just as fast as he is. So moments like that, chasing heroes when you're not going to be able to get a kill is a big waste of time. That adds up to you losing last hits. And is part of the reason that you're going to be a little bit underfarmed. Like, Mars has almost 16 last hits more than you right now. So, alright, so you're queuing up Drum, which is good. Drum is generally pretty good on this hero. You forgot to ulti him. It's a really big mistake, actually. Huge mistake. You should have ultied him right away and then stunned him, but you react slow. Okay, he ends up still dying, but that costs the Venge like every bit of her swaps. So it's pretty costly for her, actually. Damn, she's like really farmed. What is this? Wand double crown? How does she have so many items? We're not gonna make it. Never mind, you might make it. So close. Kind of doing that thing again where you kind of just run aimlessly trying to help. Maybe the swap was kind of close, but you probably overchased a little bit. Items look great. Like, honestly, maybe you get one more bracer in the laning stage, but it's really not that big of a deal. You can maybe start playing back in a little bit. This is not very helpful. You should have at least casted one ultimate. Like, you kind of asked for that, you know? You like ran into him. You like walked into the Mars in melee range with Venge. If anything, the way you should play it is like, if he's over here, you want to stand like really wide. And at minimum, just like ulti him to start the fight. That way, if you guys do engage, you don't have to spend the time later. So at minimum, you can put Corrosive Haze down. And if he ultis you, running against the wall is not going to do anything. The best thing you could do is like start slapping somebody maybe, because then you're going to get bashes and some damage in. And then when the thing's almost up, you pop Drum and run away. But the way you reacted to it was pretty weak. now you're back to the bot lane, but they got your tower, so now you're kind of just hitting creeps. So you're kind of playing Slardar right in that you are sitting in your lane a lot and getting last hits, but you're also roaming around for fights too much. This is really weird. I don't know what you're doing now. This is a huge waste of time. You just need to stay bottom and keep getting last hits. Going to jungle is not worth. Jungling is only good if you think that they're about to pop out of the jungle, out of the lane and kill you, but at this point in the game, carries do not play down here. They play in the jungle usually, and the other heroes are going to be doing other things. So like hypothetically they can kill you, but usually it should be you guys pressuring you. So you backing to go jungle when you don't have lifesteal or very good HP regen is frankly kind of bad. Because what's happening is you're not pressuring the map either. By pushing the lane, at least you pressure the map, because then like a catapult is gonna be hitting a tower and they're gonna need to go react to that. But now they don't have to do that. They can do literally whatever the fuck they want. And maybe they don't do anything because they're bad. You should also still ulti these, by the way. It's cool that you stack this. But again, I wish you're pushing this creep wave, you or anybody else. And look what they're doing. They're grouping as 5 and they're pushing towers. So by you jungling, you're genuinely doing nothing to help your team win the game. All you did was kill an ancient camp. Now you're sprinting bottom. You should stay bottom. I get that they're all here and that looks scary and then cut you off, but you can always... No, you can't. You don't have a TP. I was going to say just step to the side if they come for you and TP. So now because they're doing this and now they're controlling this area, you don't feel safe pushing bottom until you get your teleport scrolls. And now you're shifting mid because you feel like you need to be here to defend the tower, which is slightly true, but not necessarily guaranteed. You should have drummed at this point. You're really late for the drum here. Keep ulting. Should be ulting like every 5 seconds on a new target. You still haven't used your ulti yet since the start. Like all these guys could be dead or close to dead if you'd use your ulti more effectively. But you're not really using your ulti very effectively. You're kind of forgetting to do it in a lot of cases. Interesting. A Holy Locket Rush. This is his skill build and he bought Holy Locket. This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen, guys. I was like, okay, well, he's going to amplify his heal by 35%. Let's see how much that is. This is some weird crap, guys. Anyways, Jesus. So, if you do want to get blink like this, you need to stay put in your lane more often. And if you want to show up to fights, what you just do is teleport. Stay bottom, hit creeps, bring TPs out earlier, obviously. And then, hey, if there's a big fight in the mid tower, you just teleport here and you run around and come fight when it's time to fight. But you don't want to go early before the fight happens because then you're standing around. You just want to show up on time, basically. And in the meantime, continue to hit creeps. You should be running bottom to farm. This is a safe place to be. TPing here is a waste because everybody else is already here, so they're likely going to be closer to the wave than you. Like Anti-Mage would maybe consider taking the mid wave, for example. And now you're here standing with Venge, hitting the same creep wave, which is a waste of time. One of you should be jungling instead. But either way, I'm glad you're hitting creep waves and not jungling. That is better. Better use of your time. Sprint away. You should be essence ringing here. Then you should run bottom and go push. CM's getting just easy free farm down here because you guys are in the wrong place. You should have ultied already by now. There we go, finally. We got dispelled, that was nice. She looks very dead. What? Well, he could have died. Now the game's just kind of weird. You're going back to heal now, but you haven't really gained any gold since you left the lane. Because you've been running around trying to fight these guys, but you haven't been using your skills very well. And they're actually like itemizing and playing around the map well. Ideally, you would sprint bottom to go push that out, or like you have good vision of them, so you should be able to run away if they come to kill you. But they can basically just deathball here because you guys aren't pushing side lanes. There's literally no reason for them to go anywhere else other than to deathball mid. Because you guys have already used Glyph, and no one else is pushing lanes. And that's partially because you are not pushing lanes. Nobody's pushing lanes, hence no pressure. They can do literally everything they want. Now you're going to slowly try to catch up on your Blink Dagger. Like, basically, the tempo of this game is accelerated a lot because you guys have made all the wrong reactions. Number one, you left your lane too early. You wasted a little bit of time chasing around trying to fight. You didn't fight very effectively, so some of the fights became really one-sided in whether or not you guys win or lose it. And then you, again, reacted incorrectly to how they started playing. They started winning fights, so they start deathballing. But then you guys aren't pushing side lanes, so they never have to stop deathballing, which is normally inefficient. It's normally inefficient for 5 heroes to be in the same lane, because the creep wave goes up to the tower, you press a glyph, the whole wave dies, and they're staying there for 30 seconds. In the meantime, Slardar is like down here hitting a tower, and Anti-Mage is over here hitting a tower. And they're like, oh shit, we're losing towers, and we're not doing this fast enough. But because you weren't pushing those side lanes, there's no worry. They're just like, oh, that's fine, we'll just wait for the next creep wave. They do, and then they kill the tower. And then they move over here, now they're going to start pushing this way. And now you're like, oh man, all these fights went badly, that sucks. And I'm not even close to Blink Dagger, but that's because you left the wave early. And because you reacted poorly in fights. Now Deuce is going to have to use ulti just to stay alive because, again, they're pressuring and you guys aren't doing anything. Soul looks very dangerous now. And now they're going to pressure this tower as a death ball. This is good. So you push mid? Great. Ooh, this TP is not good. So you're in mid, pushing, you get your Blink Dagger, which is great. And here's your mistake, is that you TP'd without looking. You probably saw all these people fighting on the map, but you do not need to TP for this. Look at it. This guy's already dead. And these guys aren't even diving or caught. If those guys are engaged and not going to be able to just disengage easily, then you can TP and help fight. But they were not engaged, which means that your team isn't going to be able to initiate on them, like Vengeance and in swap range, for example. So you finishing your TP is a waste. You'd be better off to move over here in jungle. And now you're running them down because this feels like the right thing to do because you teleported, but it's a waste. So again, you wasted your time. You do have Blink though. Ideally, it would be Medusa that pushes us out, not you. Because you don't push super fast compared to either Medusa or AM. It's not terrible though that you're pushing. I would honestly keep pushing. If your teammates push here, and especially with this many heroes top, it's so easy for you to push bottom now. We just saw 3 heroes top. Yes, you could sprint over, or you could say, guys, I don't have TP. Everyone disengages, and you continue pushing bottom. And everybody rotates to you instead. Instead, everyone's crossing the whole map when these guys are just running for their lives. And maybe AA dies here, but who gives a shit? Like, it's not worth it for everyone on your team to run over to try to save this guy. He just dies, you continue pushing and pressuring your tower, and you're getting gold in the meantime. So now you're finally back bottom, but imagine if you just stayed here. As soon as you saw like 4 heroes top, and you were outmaneuvered that it wasn't good for you guys to fight, you just stay bottom and start hitting buildings. That's just so much better for you guys. This is probably Invoker, I'm guessing, right? Yeah. Essence Ring, sprint, and then you run for your life. And boom, now they've reacted to you. And this isn't that bad. Hey. Shut up. Tango. Shut up. They've reacted to you. You didn't die. You ran away. You lost more HP than you'd like, so now you're going to have to go back and heal. But now they've reacted. Then you draw on the map, push top. That's exactly the right thing to do. Now, because they move bottom, you guys push the opposite side of the map, and you make them chase you again. And if you guys just do this all faster than them, then it's a lot easier, and you get more done. Pinging the Omni is great. Alright, cool. Now you got a kill. So everybody spreads out. Not only do you need to go top, but somebody needs to get ready to defend bottom, because they're still there and pushing. So somebody should defend here. Unfortunately, it died right away. This is really dangerous with your low health. You really need to use the ring. You're too late. Technically, you should have blinked away from that. Would have been better. Or you would have had Essence Ring going already. You would have gotten some heal from it. Same thing again. Everybody pushes out lanes. And then when lanes are slightly pushed out, you can kind of predict where people are going to be. This lane's pushed here. This lane's pushed here. And there's nobody there. Well, they're going to be in the jungle in the middle, you know? But really what you guys should be doing is pushing out the off lane. This should be the first tower you take every game. And it should be done by you staying in the lane, getting last hits, pressuring. And if shit gets busy in the rest of the map, you either TP to those, or you recognize that you're not going to be able to help, or you're going to be there late, and you just continue pushing. Or the Venge and the AA rotate down to where you are, sit in the trees while you're pressuring the tower, and then when somebody TPs in, they jump out and kill. So like when Invoker ganked you there, hypothetically, they could run out of the trees, use their combo on Invoker, and maybe you guys kill them together. You know, that's your alternative. But instead, you guys are kind of getting into the swing of things now, but you threw pretty fucking heavily from like the 10 to 20 minute mark. And now things are better. This looks like an okay place for you to be because Omni Knight's doing dumb shit, but realistically, I would have probably sprinted all the way bottom to push. I think that would have been a little better use of your time. Because right now, you're sitting around in case a fight happens mid, but ideally a fight just doesn't happen here. And then you're getting last hits. And then if a fight does happen, you just TP to the mid tower, and then you show up to this fight, you know? But instead, you're just wasting your time. You could have sprinted all the way bottom to hit creeps. Ideally, AM does this as well. AM should be sprinting, yeah, exactly. This is what AM should be doing. Spamming blink to get bottom, and pressure this tower. And now this is going to force them to react. Going for the next creep wave is a safer way to do this, because now they can't just like teleport to where he is hitting buildings. And now see how easy that was? He sprints bottom, he cuts the creep waves, and now this tower is just going to die. And if anybody goes to defend it, it's kind of a waste of time for them. Like, they'll get gold, but they're not actually... They have no chance of killing an actual hero. He should have blinked in and gotten the last hit, but... Then you guys glyph top, which is good. AM continues pushing. And then you guys basically have options. You either can react to this and take a team fight, and AM can TP afterwards. Or you guys can spread out and farm. Ideally, maybe you guys fight here, because you're actually not that far behind in net worth, but they also have BKBs, which is pretty scary. Crystal Maiden has a BKB. For whatever reason. Very interesting. But as long as AM is farming, this is really not that bad. Now they all TP. And now this is the perfect time for you guys to run in top. You guys are doing this slow, actually. Let's see your perspective while these teleports happen. Alright. Here's the teleports. You're over here hitting creeps. We see Sven bottom. You should instantly say fight top. You should instantly use sprint, and you should run at him. I also don't like your skill build. I wish you had 4 points in Guardian Sprint, personally. Because the extra point in Slardar Crush doesn't really do that much. It's better to be a little bit faster to get places. But you should see, hey, they're split up. This is a great time for us to collapse. Everyone runs at top, and you guys go take a fight. And then you pinged, but again, you're slow. This was like 30 seconds. It was like 10 seconds late. Now you're very dead. But if this fight doesn't happen here, and instead happens here, your team is going to be a lot quicker to catch up. And it still ends up being a little okay, because you got a kill. Sad for Dusa, she did not get that illusion rune. Alright, now you should keep pushing out top, not just kill one wave and run away. Okay, you eventually figured this out, but you did it slow, so as a result you wasted a little bit of time here. You should maybe continue pushing. They don't have a tier 1 tower here, so it's not like they're super likely to come gank you. If they're smart, they do stuff like that. They'd come up with like a 3-man gank squad, jump out of the trees and kill you here. But I think at your MMR, you can pretty safely push a little bit more heavily. Now that you're back into jungle, yes, you're going to get gold right now, but you're not even close to BKB. And if you don't push out the waves better than this, they're not going to feel pressured at all. Like, eventually this wave is going to get to the tower, but it's going to take like a minute. If you kill this wave right here, this wave gets to like here, it crushes this one, and then the next wave comes, and then it's under tower. But you like only pushed a little bit. So basically, they're not going to feel pressured, and they're going to feel able to come do whatever they want on the map, which is what's happening right now. Good initiation. You should have ulti right after. Like, stun, run to here, and then ulti him, because then you're safe by being on cliff. Hard for you guys to initiate, because he's got BKB. And he just 3 shots your dude, of course. That's a lot of mana. It's a good initiation, actually. They all ran back. Where did you even come from? Oh, there you are. Good ulti. Fortunately, everyone's just kind of living. Oh, he was so close to dying, actually. This almost looks okay. Oh no, this is bad. You guys just needed to fight a little bit better together, I think, and this could have been okay. If he walks forward, he dies. Oh, you should ulti him. Okay, there we go. So basically, like, you need to look at Slardar as, like, he's not a very good teamfight offlaner. Like, team fighting is not really his strength. His strength is, like, being a good lane dominator and being really quick and being able to, like, run around and do skirmishes. But because you didn't pressure the lanes very well, you basically forced your opponents, or allowed your opponents to do this, like, crazy good death ball shit, where, like, they just get together after some one team fights and they push towers. And that's the moment that you want a team fight hero. Because if there's 5 enemy heroes and 5 of your heroes and you're fighting by your tower, you want really good team fight abilities. I'm talking like Ravage, Vacuum Wall, stuff like that that's going to be really effective compared to what a Slardar does. Yes, you could 5-man Slither and crush them, which is good, but your ulti only affects one guy. So, like, ideally, what's happening instead is if you're going to play like this by not pressuring lanes, then you want better team fight stuff. So you didn't have that. So when you guys fight, you're behind in net worth and your team fighting a little bit inadequately, and that's what's made all of this so difficult, basically. Oh no, AIM's going to die because of this. Let's see, blanks. Okay, he lives. He actually has lifesteal. If I were him, I would just keep hitting neutral creeps. What's the bad time for your team? Not fun. Now you're back to hitting creeps slowly. So at this point, you're not going to get any stronger, basically. Like, Slardar needs it. You want to be ahead a little bit to be effective as a hero, and that needs to start a little bit from the laning stage. So lane better, stick more time in lane, getting last hits rather than running around the map. Show up to fights when it's necessary, and then you're going to feel a lot stronger in these times when you actually do go in. So that's probably why you feel weak, because now you can't, like, jump in and kill somebody quickly, because your net worth is, like, way down here, and you don't want to be behind when you're playing Slardar, because it'd be better to be playing another offlaner with better team fight to compensate for that. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Thanks for signing up for the coaching, and have a great day. Goodbye.